This is Komets Corner.
Well, it is Teddy Bear Toss Week this week. Shane Albahrani joining us for the first edition of Komets Corner. That game is going to be Friday night as we talk a little bit about what is coming up. Thanks to our sponsor, Lee's Chicken. You thought maybe we just brought lunch, and just because we're hungry guys. But yeah, you got the Komets box. Talk a little bit about what we saw from the Komets. Obviously, it goes to overtime. You pick up a point in Toledo. We'll dive into the games in depth here in a second. But also picking up that win 4-1 against Cincinnati on Sunday. So a 3-point weekend in 2 games. Pretty good weekend for the Komets moving forward.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want to win the weekend, and we did. Disappointed in the outcome on Saturday in Toledo because, again, just the same problems. You have to win in Toledo, and when you get them down, you got to finish them off. But the same old problems just kind of keep rising year in and year out. So, right now, the Komets have a really good record against the Central Division, with the exception of Toledo, 1-1-1. You're plugging right along. I mean, everyone is pretty happy. You really can't criticize this team a whole lot, I'm sure, but if you ask the coaches, it's a different story. I think everything is trending in the right direction. We've yet to have any really a dip in any productivity or anything like that. So, I mean, as long as we stay healthy, hopefully we just keep on driving to the top.
Okay, because this is our first show, we've got a lot to cover because a lot of hockey has been played already, 2 months essentially plus into the season. Yeah. When you take a look at this Komets team, off to a great start in first place. We'll get into the standings a little bit later. What's impressed you so far? Because those first 11 games were on the road, but being together on the road, in the hotel, at meals, everything, it can galvanize a team, and it looks like that is what happened with the Komets so far.
It really wasn't that bad. I mean, like you said, it was a good opportunity for this team to bond. I think it's great. That was the start of the season. We were able to do that instead of having that long road trip in the middle of the season. But yeah, everybody got a chance to get to know each other, and you do build that framework, and you get friendships now starting up when you're on the road that much. But no, it was great to have 11 games on the road and to come out as good as we did. I mean, you're thinking maybe 500, you're in good shape, but you come out with a solid winning record out of those 11 games was just a plus. But the strength of this team has been defense and goaltending, and especially the defensive play by the forwards. I mean, the back checking has been just phenomenal, and I think that has been a big key to the success. I mean, they're limiting teams to under 20 shots or 20 to 25 shots a game, and that's incredible, and that is just a testament to guys buying in, guys blocking shots, taking care of your goaltender, and that's how you win hockey games.
Diving into this game on Sunday against Cincinnati, obviously coming off an overtime loss, but picking up the point against Toledo on Saturday, turning it around on Sunday. A lot of moves roster-wise for the Komets, especially, the return of Odin Tufto. What did that mean to this team to have a guy back? I mean, we saw the injury in Iowa. It was pretty gruesome, just to be honest with you. Yeah. But 8 months later, he's back suiting up for the Komets and back in action. What did that mean as a shot in the arm for the case?
Yeah, another one of the strengths of this club is their depth. So you are able to make those changes when you have back-to-back games, and it's plug and play, and bringing in Odin Tufto is just incredible. Like you said, the injury, we thought could have been career-ending. But here he is, back in a Komet uniform. He came into our office about 6 weeks ago, getting ready. He goes, "I'm ready to skate." And we were all just amazed that he was that ready. And I think it's more mental, obviously, with Odin after going through what he had. And remember, he was injured. He broke his wrist in the middle of the season last year. So he really didn't play a whole lot. He only played really in the first half. And he goes out and he has 2 points. He gets 2 assists in his opening game here with the Komets. And he was great on the face-off circle, which he was wonderful last year, and now coupled with a guy like Jaden Grube now and Nick Deacon-Poot, we have got some solid centermen on this team. And when your offensive productivity, I mean, it really starts on the face-off dot. Now you've got 3 guys who can win draws.
Yeah, I was going to say that's kind of one of the undersung things about Odin is how good he was on face-offs. They really missed him when he wasn't there last year for that fact. Also, Magera with a goal, and then Blake Murray with a goal in the second period. You guys go up 2-1 after surrendering the first goal against Cincinnati. Nathaniel Day, pretty good performance in goal as well. What impressed you about this Komets team where they've kind of flipped the script in the second period for this win against the Cincinnati Cyclones?
Yeah, it was a good bounce back. When you take a loss like you did in Toledo, that can snowball, and you can take that into the next night. These guys didn't do that. First periods, there's not been a lot of scoring in really any game this year. The Komets have done a really good job in the first period not allowing that first goal, and when the Komets get that momentum, they're a different team. But the second period is where they're doing all their damage. I mean, I think they're doubling up teams in the second period, so they get that second period lead. But the third periods have been the issue as of late, holding that lead. But no, it was a great bounce back game for the Komets. Coming home, it was Military Appreciation Night, so it was a kind of emotional game. Odin Tufto back in the lineup, so it was a great bounce back. And this team really, when they come up a loss, they're winning the next game. So it's like they're not coupling up losses. So, I mean, that's also another reason why we've been successful.
All right, so you take a look at the third period. Reese Brown, they both get goals. What did that mean for this Komets team to be able to finish off a game? You mentioned finishing has been a little bit of a bugaboo at times this season. So what did it mean to finish off a game at home? Only a 2-game weekend, but you go out on a high note. That had to be something that the Komets have to be pretty happy about, and I imagine Jesse Kalicki was after the game.
Yeah, you get the 2 points. Again, you bounce back after that disappointing loss in Toledo. So it means a lot going into the week, and now you're going to have 3 games this week. You're going to go outside of the division with Kansas City. You're going to see what the other division has to offer. And then you got 2 games against Kalamazoo. So, we've beaten up on Kalamazoo, but they've been tight games. It's a team that even though they're in the basement, they just keep on coming. That's a team that just no quit. So you want to beat the teams you're supposed to beat. So I think that is going to be the focus going into this week's practice. But it was good having that win. You're not going into the week dreading practice after going back-to-back losses. So that is a huge win, just a good confidence builder for the team going into the week.
And I mentioned Nathaniel Day. He makes 24 saves on 25 opportunities. So what is it about the goaltending? Obviously, Jansson's back and healthy. We saw Connor Unger briefly, and we knew it was going to be brief. But for that 7-game in 10-day stretch, what's impressed you about the goaltending? Because when I've asked Jesse about it a couple times this season, he's been kind of over the moon about what he's seen so far from the goaltending and from the defense in general, but the goaltending specifically.
Yeah, the one thing you worry about when you go into the season with essentially 2 rookies as your starters, you get a little worried because they don't have that mileage under them, and it's a grind. The ECHL season, it really takes a toll, and then you get into the playoffs, and you like to have an experienced goaltender, and they're going to the postseason. But these 2 guys play with they're veterans. I mean, they are legit NHL prospects. They're both on NHL contracts, so that shows you something about their talent level. It's just they need the experience, and what Nathan Day did last year, coming in end of the season and then essentially saving the Komet season in the playoffs was incredible. And then Sam Jansson came in highly touted by Edmonton. He's way up on the list, on the prospect list, and we knew he was going to be good. So it doesn't matter who you throw out there. I think that's also the thing. It's like we're confident. It's a good. We're rotating goaltenders, so you don't have to really ride the hot hand because both of them play so well, and the team is playing so well in front of them. And both of them, they've got such confidence. I think that's the thing that's striking. It's like nothing intimidates these guys. I mean, they go out there, and they're going to throw their best game out there every night.
All right, I heard the word incredible in there, and when I think incredible, I think Odin Tufto, his return. We had a chance to chat with Odin after the game this past Sunday, and here's what the forward had to say about his return to the ice with the Komets.
Odin, a special game for you, just being back at the Komets lineup after that injury in the Iowa series last year. Besides you impacting the game like you did, just how gratifying was tonight to be back in the Komets lineup?
Yeah, super gratifying. Kind of a little bit of an emotional day for me. I mean, there was moments where it didn't feel real, like I was playing a hockey game again, and obviously chatted with my parents this morning, and just like I sat in a hospital bed and I was basically told right early on that I was never going to play hockey again. So I think when things come full circle and you kind of think about it, it's tough not to get a little emotional, but just took it all in today, and again was super grateful, like you said, to just be out on the ice again and take it all in and enjoy it.
How long did it take for you to kind of settle in and kind of get your legs back under you tonight?
I'd say like that first period for me was pretty tough, but then second period I kind of felt like myself again. I think the pace and just timing and everything of that first period was a little tricky. Had to get my legs under me, had to get my lungs under me, but I think I adjusted well, and as the game went on, I felt better and better.
For you to get those 2 apples tonight, just how quickly has it been for you just to settle in with some of these newer guys to this team and make an impact with this group?
Yeah, I just, I'm trying to insert myself. There's a lot of great players here. This is a very unique team from, compared to last year. And so obviously when I got in the lineup today, I just wanted to, it's cliche, but like help any way possible. And I know what I can do offensively, and I know how I can help in the face-offs and defensively. So I just wanted to try to acclimate myself and honestly just get back into game rhythm with everything that happened with the injury. So. Yeah, it was super cool. Like I said in the first intermission interview, a lot of people reached out to me. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I mean, any possible way to get in contact with me. Messages were sent over the last 7-8 months, and just super grateful for that support. There's not a lot of places in the minors that you get support like this, so really cool to kind of have all of them behind me. And obviously, I heard that cheer, felt that cheer. It was pretty cool for me, and I think it kind of helped me settle in a little bit too, for sure.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it. We were talking about it, off air during the interview, just the severity of that injury, a spiral fracture to the fibula. To see him back in 8 months, I mean, when you signed him, I was like, okay, here's the process, but it seemed pretty quick. He was activated Sunday, boom, and he's there. What does it mean to have him just from an emotional standpoint back on the ice?
Absolutely inspiring. I mean, to anybody. I mean, to have that type of injury and to come back. And again, I think with Odin, it'll be his mental, how do you feel going into corners and things like that. And last night he took a tumble. He went right into the wall in the second period, and he kind of came up a little lame, and your heart stopped for a second, but he got up, shaked it off, and he just skated the rest of the shift. So I think that was huge. And he even said, it's going to be the mental aspect more than the physical aspect going into this season.
Yeah, but what an absolute blessing to have him back for Komets fans, and just can't say enough good things about Odin Tufto and what he's been able to do to get back this quickly from an injury that severe. On Saturday night, you go to Toledo. Obviously, when it comes to the Komets, there is no bigger rival. So going to Toledo on Saturday night, what was the mentality heading into this matchup? Because you look at Toledo, Brandon Hawkins, Jalen Smerrick's returning to Toledo. Obviously, a guy you love to have on your team, but hate when he's on the other team. So some mixed emotions there. What was the attitude going into this game? Because, when you take a look at the history of the last few years, man, you got to go through Toledo if you want to win the Central Division.
Yeah, it's Toledo. It's, if you're a Michigan fan, it's Ohio State. If you're Ohio State, it's Michigan. That's what it is in minor league hockey, Fort Wayne and Toledo. So, you go into Toledo, I think a big focus this year is winning the division, because Toledo dominating the division for all these years has been ridiculous. It's like we want it to come through Fort Wayne. But you still have to win in the regular season in Toledo, and now we're 0-2 in that barn. And the first game, 2-1 game, it was a close game, could have went either way. But this one, kind of hurt because you had a 2-0 lead, and you were up 3-1. And you couldn't hold the lead in the third period. And the big thing is with Toledo, you can't give them power plays. They scored 4 power play goals.
4 or 5 on power play.
4 power play goals, 5 power play chances. You just can't do it. And you can say what you want about the officiating. I thought Brandon Hawkins, I thought it was a pure slew foot on Jaden Grube, and Jaden Grube did not play yesterday. Brandon Hawkins did not get suspended. He got fined. There was a couple other plays there in overtime that I thought, could have went our way. But you're going to take penalties, and, you have to kill them off. And one of the strengths of this team has been the penalty kill. I mean, they've had 2 streaks this season of over 20-plus kills in a row. So they can do the job, even if you're taking 4 or 5 penalties. But, to show you that stat, they came into that game second in the league in the penalty kill, and after that game, they fell to 11th in the league.
Wow.
That shows you.
It was not a good night.
Yeah, not a good night.
But not indicative, really, of how they played the rest of the season.
No, not really, not at all. But when you lose a game like that in Toledo, again, it's heartbreaking because you had them down, and you have to win in that building. And there's something about third periods in that building, just historically. I don't know what it is. It goes back years, but again, we were unable to hold the lead. But you can't give them any opportunities. Toledo is a team. They live and die on the specialty teams. Not even their penalty kill. They lead the league in shorthanded goals with 8. So it doesn't matter if they're playing short or if they're playing a man up. But when they score on the power play, it's within 30 seconds. They don't even give you a chance. So if you're not going to the penalty box, 5-on-5, you're going to beat this team. And I think right now this season, 5-on-5, the Komets are arguably the best team in the league. It's like they're not giving the other team opportunities. Toledo, they don't take penalties. They came into that game, I think, averaging just a little over 8 minutes a game, 8 minutes per game in penalties. So they're not giving you an opportunity. So you want to stay 5-on-5 with these guys, and you'll beat them. So lesson learned.
Well, you look at Kirill Tutayev, 2 goals. He had the first one and then another one, a power play goal later in the game that tied it at 4-4 before it descended into overtime. What has he brought to the team, and what did you see from his performance? Because, my takeaways from this game is, they let the lead go away, but Matt Miller scores his first on a beautiful goal, which we saw just a second ago, and Kirill gets 2 goals. What are some of the positives that you take out of this game, throwing out the outcome and, the penalty kill, essentially?
Yeah, you mentioned Kirill. He came to us halfway through the season last year. I don't think he ever got comfortable. He kind of shied away from contact, I think. You're from Russia. The language might be a little bit of a barrier. You're learning a new team. You come in halfway through the season. It's going to be difficult for anybody. But this year, he gets a fresh start, comes into training camp, and you can tell he has that confidence, and he's going and he's getting more physical. He's going into the corners. He's getting dirty, and he's using that speed, and he's using that great wrist shot that he has. And he showed it a Saturday night in Toledo. So Kirill just brings another dynamic to this team. And you mentioned Matt Miller, a guy, first 11 games on the road, he struggled. I mean, he was a healthy scratch a couple nights, and but you could it was building. He was starting to get comfortable, and I noticed opening night at the Coliseum, he really played really well, and all through that entire weekend. And he was getting very close to getting that first goal, and then he doesn't just get a goal. I mean, it's a highlight reel, showroom quality move that he makes to score his first goal. And he's a guy who, once he starts getting revved up, I think he is going to be kind of just a quiet guy that people are going to forget about, and he's going to be a real important part to this team.
Yeah, had such a great start last season in Reading. He was a mid-season All-Star. He was their All-Star rep for the Royals. So their season was kind of a mess when you take a look at the bulk of it all. But it's nice to see him kind of picking things up. And like you said, showroom quality goal. I mean, it doesn't get much better than what we saw from Matt Miller. And it hasn't gotten much better than what we've seen from James Stefan so far this season. Yeah. He's been fantastic. We obviously saw him in the final stretch of last season, then in the postseason. He's a sniper. He loves that spot right around the circle. I mean, he calls it his office over there, is what he told me in practice. And we had a chance to chat with James Stefan, who came into this past weekend tied with Alex Eliardi for the team lead with 10 goals. And here's what James had to say at practice last week about the good start that he's gotten off to this season with the K's now that he's settled in. Here at Komets practice with the team's leading goal scorer, tied with Alex Eliardi, James Stefan, and 10 goals on the season. You've been out hot. This team has been hot. What's been the key to hitting the ice running, if you will, to begin this season for the Komets?
Yeah, I think the team's playing well right now. I think we've come together as a group. We're a tight group, and I think that shows on the ice. I mean, I think we have a lot of good players and a lot of depth, and I think that's our biggest factor. Yeah, we can play any line. It doesn't matter.
Now, we saw you at the end of last season here, 12 games plus the postseason. Do you feel more settled in this year with Jesse, with these systems, with this city, with this team, more so perhaps than you even did at the end of last year?
Yeah, it's definitely an easier transition coming in and knowing, the players and the staff and the systems. It makes it easier to just kind of go out and play and not have to think about, all this new stuff. So, yeah, it definitely makes it more comfortable coming in this year.
Where do you think you've improved the most? What skill set have you worked on the most from last season to this?
I think just adjusting to the pro game. I wanted to get faster and stronger. Those were the two biggest things, and I think I put on a good amount of weight. I feel stronger in battles against older guys going from junior, and then I wanted to work on my speed, my quickness, and I feel like I've done that, and it showed.
I was looking at the stats the other day, and you have, I believe, 2 power play goals this year. It feels like way more. You've been really efficient on the power play since you got here. What's the key to making things happen offensively when you guys are on the power play?
I think it's just work. I mean, I think, to have a successful power play, you got to work, and I think sometimes, you think, you can just kind of stand around, but I think it's, puck retrievals, and that's the biggest thing, I think. So I think, we're coming together right now, and I think we're working pretty hard.
So you're a hockey family. Your dad, Patrick, was drafted #1 pick in the NHL draft, 1999 by the Atlanta Thrashers. What kind of advice has he given you throughout your career? Because I imagine from an early age, hockey was prominent in your household.
Yeah, I mean, he's been huge. I talk to him almost every day about different things that I see or different things that I need help with, and he's been through it all. He's been played at every level. So, yeah, I mean, he helps me, whether that's, mentally, when I'm going through a tough stretch, or things he sees that I think I could do better, or things I'm doing well. So, yeah, he's been huge.
So California is where you call home at this point. So What is it like to go through when it snowed last week? Like that's a little bit of a different transition for you as far as landscape wise.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I actually lived in Michigan for 4 to 5 years, so I've been through a couple, tough winters. So I've adjusted to that, but definitely going from summer in California to here, it's a little bit different.
So you guys are in first place. We're about 2 months into the season. What is it that has you guys playing well, and how do you carry that momentum over? Because most of your games have been on the road. You played your first 11 on the road this season, but that can kind of galvanize the team when you guys are all together in the hotel, eating meals, doing everything together.
Yeah, I mean, I think that almost helped. I think we became close pretty quick just being on the road and always being around each other. And like I said, I think we're, a really deep group. All 4 lines, all our D and our goalies, I think we're built really well, and I think we can play you a multitude of ways. I mean, I think we got physicality, we have skill, we have hard work. So, yeah, I think we're built really well.
Final question. If there's a fan out there, what is something they might not know about James Stefan? What's a unique fact?
I'm a pretty good tennis player.
Really?
I take pride in my tennis game. Yeah, I play a lot in the off season.
Big serve guy, or are you a hit and volley type guy?
No, I'm a forehand guy. Once you get into the rally, my forehand's pretty lethal, I'd say.
Some say it's a 5-hand.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how good it is. Yeah. James Stefan, we appreciate it. Congratulations on all your success that you've had so far this season.
Thank you very much.
James Stefan, big tennis guy. I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
But he's got the California roots, so.
Well, you mentioned the forehand. I mean, he's got a wicked wrist shot, so it would make sense.
I guess that's true. Probably the same kind of action. And of course, his father, Patrick Stefan, James Stefan. It's one of those we were talking about out there. It's one of those names that finally gets corrected.
Yeah.
It kind of goes through. His dad was a teenager from Czechoslovakia when he's picked number 1 in the draft by the Atlanta Thrashers back in '99.
And he played at the Coliseum. He played for Long Beach Ice Dogs. And I remember when he came to town. This was before the draft. And this is when European players would come over and play minor league hockey like in the IHL before the draft. And I think almost every NHL team had a scout there that night. This was late 90s. So, So, I mean, the name Stefan has rattled around the Coliseum more than once.
I did not know that. See, that's the kind of nuggets you get with speaking of nuggets,
what's in the box?
Famous recipe chicken. But I did not know that his dad had played here.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, such a cool little anecdote there. When you take a look at, I mentioned the standings with him. Obviously, the Komets are off to a great start as we take a look at the standings right now. 30 points through 20 games so far this season. That's a pretty good pace. With Toledo there at second, you've got Bloomington third, and then Cincinnati in fourth. We mentioned all the road games to start the season. That certainly hasn't hurt this team as they went 8-3 in that first 11-game stretch. But when you look at the standings, like, what's your big takeaway? How do they keep this going? Because this is we've seen some seasons with hot starts, we've seen some seasons with slow starts. But you combine all the road games with how well that they've played so far. This has got to be as good a start to the season as we've seen with the Komets in some time, taking into account how many road games they've played.
Yeah, you got to go back to 2018. I think that was maybe just a little better start. But this is a really good group of guys, a lot of talent on this team. And the schedule, we're playing a lot of games in the division. So every night is a 4-point swing. So if you look at the damage we've done, it's because we're beating teams in the division. And we're going to go outside of the division. We're going to go to play Kansas City coming up this Friday. We're going to go to Kansas City. Teams like Tahoe come in. It's good to get a look at what the other divisions have. But the fact that we're playing so many games, you're going to play a lot against Bloomington. Bloomington is a team that is getting really good. And I think Cincinnati, who we saw, I think if their goaltending is straightened up, I think they're going to be a tough out as well. So, you just running through the gauntlet of the Central Division. I'm a little biased, but I always say the Central Division still the toughest division in the league. Mm-hmm. And, we want to win that division. We want home ice now, and I think that is really kind of a focus. So you got a 4-point lead right now. I mean, everything is clicking. You win every week, you're going to be successful. And the Komets have done that every week since the start of the season.
You actually kind of touched on what I wanted to ask you, because you've had a chance to look at pretty much every team from the Central Division so far. Aside from Toledo, who's going to be the Komets' biggest competition, you think, down the stretch? And who may be a team that is going to surprise somebody? I know there's still a lot of roster manipulation, a lot of moves still left to be made, but who really strikes you as a team that aside from Toledo, might be there in the end to push the Komets.
Yeah, I think Bloomington is a team on the rise. We beat them once, 3-1 at the Coliseum. But if you look at the standings, I mean, they are right in the thick of things. They have got a lot of great talent. They are a physical hockey team, and they're a team that just kind of sneaks up on you, like they did last year. They didn't make the playoffs, but they were every time you played them, they were a tough game to play. That's the team. We're going to play them a lot, and I think that is going to be a great measuring stick for the Komets.
All right, another good measuring stick was going down to Florida early in the season. We've seen the type of success that the Everblades have had over the last few years, and Jesse Calicky obviously has connections to that. Unfortunately, he wasn't there. Fortunately, it was because there was a good reason. His wife gave birth to his son. So a new dad and off to a great start, his best start in his 3 seasons here with the Komets. We had a chance to catch up with the coach at practice last week, and here's what Jesse Calicky had to say about this great start to the 2025-26 season for the Komets. Here at Komets practice with Jesse Calicky, and Coach, man, you just went through 7 games in 10 days, came out 5-1-1 during that stretch. What impressed you about this group of guys? Because it wasn't easy Thanksgiving week, but you guys got the results that you were looking for.
Yeah, just the resiliency of the group. I think stick with it through some tough games, battle through injuries, travel, limited rest. So really happy with how the group battled, and I think we showed some heart.
2 months into the season, you guys still in first place, and you haven't played that many home games. What is it about this team that you've seen that has allowed you to get off to this kind of start and maintain it throughout the course of the first couple months?
I think our depth. We've been able to sustain some injuries, some hits, some guys maybe having off nights because I think on any given night, any line can beat you. So our depth is our strength. It's something we've been really leaning on, and it's something we're going to continue to need moving forward.
James Stefan, we saw him at the end of last season. Obviously, he brings a lot of offensive skill to this team, but 10 goals so far this season. Where have you seen his growth, and what's been the key for him to start off as well as he has this year?
Probably his game away from the puck. James is going to score no matter where he is. He's a naturally gifted player, but just seeing his commitment and his compete level away from the puck is where I've been most impressed. He's one of our best penalty killers. He's out there in the last minute of games, up a goal or down a goal. So his versatility, and just really proud of the way he's coming along as a young professional.
I mentioned the 7 games in 10 days. You don't have a game this Friday. You're on the road Saturday, back home on Sunday. So what do you do to make sure that these guys stay fresh when you're in a stretch like you have been? Because hockey season is grueling. It's a long season. How do you make sure that these guys don't burn themselves out early?
Yeah, we keep a routine. We're going to do the same thing this week. We took Monday, Tuesday off. We typically try not to practice more than 3 days in a row to not burn them out. So we'll practice, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to keep it as normal as we can, and ultimately, like you said, the schedule's a grind, and we got to be willing to play through some tough games and tough travel. It is what it is. You can't control the schedule. You can only control what the league puts in front of us, and that's how we're going to attack it.
All right, as a new dad, how do you balance all the things going on at home with all the things going on here at the rink?
Yeah, it's easy. I mean, the guys. The guys at the rink make it really easy on me to show up and be coach, and then when I leave the rink, I get to go home and be dad. So it makes it definitely has put a little strain on the sleep life, but overall, I mean, I've really enjoyed the work-home balance that's kind of settled in, and trying to find my new normal.
Yeah, how's your diaper changing game?
Yeah, it's okay.
Work in progress?
Yeah, I would say my wife probably carries the water on that one, but it's pretty cool being a new dad, and it helps when you're winning games away from home too. So it makes everything a little bit easier.
All right, congratulations on all the success, and congratulations on fatherhood. He's Jesse Calicky, I'm Glenn Marini, and that is your local sports report. Maybe we'll see young little Axel at the game on Friday because it is Teddy Bear Toss night. Taking a quick look at the schedule, you've got Kansas City at home Friday, Kalamazoo at home on Saturday, and then at Kalamazoo Sunday. What are you most looking forward to about this weekend? I mean, we're all looking forward to the Teddy Bear Toss.
Yeah, no, I look forward to seeing teams outside the division because I'm always curious to see how good those teams are because, hey, you get into the playoffs, you get to the conference final, those are the teams you're going to be playing. So, we played Wichita. That was the only team from the West. It's a game we probably should have won. We ran into a hot goaltender. We had 55 shots on net and lost 2-1 at home. That's their only home loss. So Kansas City is always a tough team. We're going to go out there, I think, in January. So it'll be another good test for the Komets. And I think it's Janicki versus Janicki. I think we got two brothers going to play against each other.
Janicki on Janicki crime. Yeah. Well, we're going to get into this chicken, but that is going to do it for our first edition of Komets Corner here this season. He's Shane Albahrani. I'm Glenn, and we'll see you next Monday.
You're watching Komets Corner.